Assalamualaikum and good morning to all of you. Okay, today we are going to do continuous writing tutorial, okay, which is reflective essay. Usually in SPM, reflective essay will come out in topic number 5. I have asked these questions in your peperiksaan pertengahan tahun. All that glitters is not gold. Describe a situation from your own experience where something had appeared good but did not turn out to be so. Before we go on, let me explain the proverb all that glitters is not gold. Okay, actually it is an aphorism stating that not everything that looks precious or true turns out to be so. While early expressions of the idea are known from at least the 12th to 13th century, the current saying is derived from a 16th century line by William Shakespeare, "All that glitters is not gold."
A man was waiting at an airport for a long-distance flight. His flight was delayed, and so he had a little spare time. He saw a deal on some cookies and thought he should treat himself. He bought quite a few cookies because he thought it might be quite a long delay. He took a seat near a man and started to read the magazine he also picked up earlier. He exchanged a glance with the other man and then tried to avoid eye contact as he went back to reading. While he was engrossed in his magazine, he happened to see that the man sitting beside him boldly grabbed a cookie from the container. He initially ignored the incident to avoid a scene. He grabbed a cookie himself and went back to his magazine. But the man seemed to have enjoyed the cookie so much, he took another one and started eating it too. This continued for a while, and with each passing moment, he began to get more and more irritated. Every time he took a cookie, so did the other man. When the last cookie was left, the man nervously took that cookie and broke it in half. He offered the other to the man and smiled. The man took the cookie and could not believe the other man's nerve. He was thinking in his head, how ungrateful could that man be? The other man then left and took the container with him. This guy couldn't believe what had just happened. He was relieved when his flight was called. He gathered his belongings. As he lifted his bag, he saw that there was a full container of cookies right there. He was totally shocked, totally surprised. It caught him off guard. He thought to himself, if my cookies are here, then wait, those cookies were his. The other man had shared his cookies whilst he was thinking he was the one doing the sharing. Whilst he was angry and irritated, the other man was being generous and kind. He felt so bad for what had happened, but he couldn't find the other man anywhere and didn't know how to apologize. Things are not always as they appear. Sometimes we make quick assumptions about people, circumstances, and situations. We judge them, label them, and put them into a box, not recognizing that there is a much bigger picture. Sometimes we meet someone in a particular state, stage, or phase of their life and stereotype them to be a certain way. Don't be so quick to judge. You never know when you might find yourself walking in someone else's shoes. And remember, the best apology is changed behavior.
Students, before we start, let's look at the question again. It says, all that glitters is not gold. Write a story to describe a situation from your own experience where something had appeared good but did not turn out to be so. Do you see that the question bear the word your? This means that you are a character in your story. Okay. You may not be a main character. Maybe the main character is one of your family members. Okay, anyway, continuous writing is creative writing. Use your creativity. I know you have that talent. Here the story goes. Okay, now um, let's look at this introduction. I use my dad as a character. Of course, this is just the imaginative story, not the real story, not my life story. Okay, you can be creative, you can be imaginative. It shouldn't be your dad, but you can say my dad because the question say your. So it's a monologue. Okay, my dad works as a carpenter. Being a carpenter, he doesn't need to wear decent suit and necktie to go to work. But I really admire my dad as he is polite and kind. I am sure anyone who meets him will immediately respect and fond of him. Anyway, he is not just a carpenter. He owns a business and runs a few projects overseas. Okay, so this is the body one or the second paragraph. The first paragraph just now was the introduction. Okay, this second paragraph is called body one. Now let's look at the sentences. One day, my dad had a job abroad. He went to the airport early to avoid traffic jam. You see, my dad didn't wear a nice suit, necktie and leather shoes just because he didn't feel like wearing them. That didn't mean he was a layman. His flight was delayed, so he went to a cafe to grab a bite. He ordered a cup of coffee and a pack of biscuits. Okay, now this is your body too. Let's look at the sentences again. After a while, a man came and sat beside my dad. The cafe was a bit crowded because the flight passengers had to wait for the delayed flight. The man looked decent but arrogant. He wore a three-piece suit, a necktie, and a pair of leather shoes. He also ordered a cup of coffee and a pack of the same biscuits my dad put on the table. My dad smiled at him, but the man arrogantly ignored my dad. Now this is body 3. Let's look at the sentences. My dad just shrugged his shoulders and continued enjoying his coffee and biscuits. Out of a sudden, the man also took the biscuits. As I told you earlier, my dad is a kind man, so he generously shared his biscuits. However, the man looked annoyed or even furious when my dad took the biscuits. My dad was puzzled why the man was acting that way. Anyway, he didn't say anything. Boys and girls, if you can give me up to body 3, I'll be very happy. But sometimes when you enjoy writing, you will write more, isn't it? Okay, so that's why I come up with body 4 because I like the story. At that moment, the man was mumbling and kept on staring at my dad. My dad was getting annoyed. Hey, don't forget that patience has the limit. After he finished the coffee, my dad walked away. He took the empty plastic container that was filled with biscuits earlier. He dumped it into a bin. The man was also getting up. When he realized his bag of biscuits was still there, he went to my dad with embarrassment. He told my dad he thought my dad ate his biscuits. Okay, sometimes you got carried away and you tend to write longer, but please don't. Okay, it's up to body 4 will be fine. Okay, now let's go to the conclusion. Let's check the sentences. You see, I know why that man behaved like that towards my dad. Just because my dad did not wear a decent suit as he was, so he thought my dad was not a decent man. Turned out he was the one who was misconduct and judgmental. As a conclusion, you don't judge others by what they are wearing. All that glitters is not gold. Okay, what you need to do now? That was my story, not your story. Okay, I know this is PKP, everyone is stressed. All that you need to do is to rewrite this story in your composition book. Write in continuous form and proper paragraphs. Okay, then maybe you will try to write your own story or essay. Okay, the title with the proverb procrastination is the thief of time. Okay, and you can email to me. But what is procrastination? Melengah-lengahkan masa maksud dia. Okay, so these are some tips for you. When you have the ideas, you will be very happy to write. So that's why choose the topic properly. There are 5 topics. You choose the whichever topics that you feel comfortable with. Okay, make sure in each paragraph you have simple, compound, and complex sentences because we do not want monotonous writing style. Apa tu monotonous? Mendata, boring, sama je daripada awal sampai habis. So you need to be creative and enjoy writing. Okay people, I hope you enjoy this tutorial. Okay, see you in the next tutorial. Be safe and be good boys and girls. Bye for now.